Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda says, Na'at kaneh b'reshut hayachid. If he stuck a pole in reshut hayachid, v'zarak, and he threw something, v'nach al gabav, and it landed on top of the pole, afilu gavoa me'ama, even if the pole is 100 amot tall, hayav is chayav. Mepeneh shereshut hayachid ole ad rakia. Because the reshut rabim goes up to this, the reshut hayachid goes up to the sky. Now, what about landing on a place that's 4x4? Didn't we say you have to land on a place that's 4x4? Leima Rav Chizda de Amar Kerebi. Let's say Rav Chizda holds like Rabbeinu HaKadosh. What Rashi says, what does Rabbi say? De lo bai hanachal gabe makom dalid. Rabbeinu HaKadosh didn't require hanachal gabe makom dalid. Where does that say? The Tanya, Zarak v'nach al gabe ziz kol shehu. If you threw something and it landed on a ledge that's a kol shehu, that's what's it called? That's a small, nafu amot, Rabbi mechayev v'chachamim potrim. And forgetting the sugya that we already learned this already, it sounds like within 4 amot, even though it doesn't have 4 tefachim, Rabbeinu HaKadosh holds its chayav, and the chachamim hold its batur, so they're not mechayev for tefachim. Rashi says, Zarak v'nach, kasal kadaitin, we're thinking he's throwing from the Reshut HaRabim to the Reshut HaYachid. Amar Abaye says no. B'Reshut HaYachid, if he was thrown if it was landing in the Reshut HaYachid proper, the kule alma la pligi ked Rav Chizda. Don't assume that Rav Chizda is only according to Rabbi and he argues on the Chachamim. Really, Rav Chizda is like everybody. Even the Chachamim will agree with Rav Chizda. That in the Reshut HaYachid, you don't need hanachal gabe makom dalid. Why? The Reshut HaYachid is full, it's better, it's good. Kid Rav Chizda. Elahacha be'ilan, we're talking about a tree. Ha'omed b'Reshut HaYachid, standing in the Reshut HaYachid. V'nofo notel Reshut HaRabim, and a branch is sticking out to the Reshut HaRabim. V'zarak, and he threw it. V'nach anofo, and it landed on the branch. The Rabbi Savar, Rabbi says, so now Rashi says we're changing the case, sort of. V'nofo notel Reshut HaRabim v'zarak, not like we said before, he threw from the Reshut HaRabim to the Reshut HaYachid. No, he threw 4 amot in the Reshut HaRabim, which is a different chiyuv. I mean, it's also hotzah, but I don't need a landing in the Reshut HaYachid. I need a landing in the Reshut HaRabim. And even if you're going to tell me that in the Reshut HaYachid, you chayav even without landing on a 4x4, for some reason, Reshut HaYachid doesn't have that requirement, but Reshut HaRabim still has that requirement. Now, even so even though it's landing in Reshut HaRabim, Rabbi holds you're going to be chayav. The Rabbi Savar Amrinan Shadi Nofo Batari Karo. Rabbeinu HaKadosh says we put the nof, the branches, we give it the same qualities as the ikar, as the base. And when you're throwing, it's considered landing in Reshut. No. The hashiv agav ikaro de'it bedalid. It's considered 4x4. Why is it 4x4? Because the trunk is 4x4, but it's considered to have landed where? In Reshut HaRabim. And Rashi says it openly before. Shadi nofo batari karo. Rashi andal Amud Bet. Vehave kemunach b'Reshut HaRabim al makom dalid. So I say, you hear Shai, I say Shadi nofo batari karo. That it's 4x4, but not that it becomes the other Reshut. It's not becoming the other Reshut. It's staying Reshut HaRabim, but I'm giving it the 4x4. The Rashi by us, Shadi nofo.
Using the
yes.
base to be Reshut HaYachid.
I'm using the measurements, but I'm not putting it inside. Yes, the hashiv. No, not necessarily. The base is in the Reshut HaYachid. The top is in the Reshut HaRabim. The hashiv agav ikaro, the id be dalid, ud Rav Chizda de lo kerabi velo kerabanan. Meaning, according to this, really, Rabbi and Chachamim both hold you need 4. Rabbeinu and the question is this branch considered 4 or not? Do you say Shadi no 4 batari kora or not? So Rav Chizda, we made it worse. Now he's like nobody. Leimer Rav Chizda da'amar very unorthodox sugya. Let's say Rav Chizda is like Rabbeinu HaKadosh. No, he's like nobody. So Rav Chizda needs a friend like that. The second lashon lishna achrina amar Abaye b'd Rav Chizda dahave b'reshut yachid filu Rabbanan modu. Everybody would agree in the reshut yachid. V'chi pligi. When do they argue? V'chi pligi Rabbanan b'shadi nofo batari karo de pligi. They argue. Do you say shadi nofo batari karo to make that even in the reshut rabim it's considered like you have 4? That's the way Rashi learns over here. The Tosafot before disagreed. A lot of Rishonim disagree because they don't understand. They don't understand how it could be that you have the nof in the Reshut Harabim. What's the nof? If it's landing on the nof, we said yesterday that if you have a brick in the Reshut Harabim, if it lands on the top, whatever it is not a Reshut Harabim anymore. Right? If it was under 3, it's Reshut Harabim, but then I don't need 4x4 because it's under 3, Aras Michta. So what is it? It's above 3, it's either Mekom Petur or Karmelit or something else. So how are you going to be Hayav in Rabbi's case if you're considering it Reshut Harabim? So, no, Rashi said it's Reshut Harabim. Tosfot says, how on earth is it Reshut Harabim? It's not on the floor. It's not within 3. He doesn't understand. So they all have a problem with it. They say it's talking in the Reshut Harabim. It's like considered like it's landing in the Reshut Yachid again. Well, then the sugya gets complicated. We'll leave it. He says over here, look in the end of Tosfot. The end of Tosfot Rabbi. V'shem yesh lomar de ta'amad Rav Chizda lo bai makom dale b'reshut yachid mishum de amrinan beita keman de mal yadami v'chashuv kemunach al gabe makom arba'a aval bekotel ba'inan sheyeh bechor dalet al dalet. That's a separate problem. He's getting on, but Tosfot wants to say that if Chizda holds that we say that it's not that you don't need 4x4. I have 4x4. Okay. Amar Abaye. There's a lot of all these pieces you could spend. We're gonna run through them, but really, each piece you could spend the full week on. Not exaggerating. Amar Abaye. Zarak kaveret l'reshut harabim. If he throws a basket. He throws a big basket, right? You see, it's like, let's say it's 10 tefachim tall or something like that. Zarak kaveret l'reshut harabim. Gavoa asara, it's 10 tefachim tall. Ve'ena rehava vav. And it's not 4 wide. The basket is round, right? So he has this big Arabic, we got a picture. You have pictures of the Pirush Chaya? Yeah. So here, you could look around, you could see the basket that he's showing us. Right, show it to the video camera, Albert. The video camera wants to see it. Right? So, Zarak kaveret. Okay, they saw. Zarak kaveret, he threw a basket. Lirshut harabim. Gavoa asara, 10 tall. Ve'ena rehava 6, but it's not 6 wide. Hayav is chayav. Rehava 6, if it's 6 wide, it's patur. So what's Abaye saying over here? So for this, you need to know a little Talmudic geometry, right? When you a reshut hayachid has to be 10 tall and 4x4. I need a 4x4 square. When I have a 4x4 square, the diagonal is going to be in Gemara math 5 and 2/3. Right? Why? Look in the sheet. Rehava Givoha asara. Kilomar afilu gavoa asara, even if it's 10 tall. Im ena rehava shisha be'imtza'ita. If it's not 6 diameter, hayav will be chayav. Before we go on, right, if the item is big enough to be a reshut hayachid in itself, you patur. Rashi says why? Because in the Mishkan they threw objects. They didn't throw something that in itself constitutes a separate reshut. We don't have such a thing. So therefore, now that's the rule. Once it's big enough to be a reshut hayachid, you patur if you throw it. Now, if I have a if it's a square, if I have a square block that's 10 tall and 4 by 4, and I throw it, I'm patur. Why? It's a reshut hayachid.
The object itself is the issue now?
Yeah, because it's big enough. It has. If you have a pillar that's 10 tall and 4 by 4, on top of that pillar is a reshut hayachid. So now I picked up the pillar, it's hollow, and I threw it. So I'm patur.
You can move a wagon?
Maybe you can move a wagon. Yeah. Oh, you're patur if you move the wagon, right? So if it's a reshut hayachid, you're patur. So now, if I have this,
This object is in an area, so it's
no, I have a pillar. This object itself is a reshut hayachid. So if I pick it up, have the pillar standing in the reshut harabim. I pick it up, I carry it, and I put it down in another part. It's patur. Why? I moved the reshut hayachid. There's no such melacha in Shabbat of moving a reshut hayachid. There's moving a wallet, there's moving a purse, there's moving a thing. Not moving a reshut hayachid.
Someone comes to me and says, Avi, there's this big cabinet outside.
Right.
I want to move it to the other side.
If you move it, you'll be patur. It's patur of alasur. We're not allowing you to do it, but it's patur of alasur. What? L'tzorech mitzvah or tzorech gadol, it could be mutar. Yeah, shvut is shvut b'mkom mitzvah.
It's either it is or it isn't.
No. It's asur. It's mutar min Torah. But the Chachamim said if we're going to allow people to move cabinets, they're going to come to move smaller things or that, so they made it asur anyway. Just to play it safe, because people are knocking, they're going to make trouble with it. But we got to know, does he have to bring a korban or not? You only have to bring a korban if it's asur from the Torah. So from the Torah, you wouldn't have to bring a korban. When we say patur, we want to know, do you have to bring a korban or not? But we're not going to let you carry even if it's mutar from the Torah, because it's too confusing. Rabbi, you see a guy, she's carrying a purse. What happened? He said, yesterday my son moved the cabinet. If he can carry a cabinet, I can't carry my purse? Go explain it to her. No, the cabinet is a reshut hayachid, and he moved. Oh, what? This is my rule. If you can't explain it to your grandma, you can't follow that. It can't be a law.
A couple of days ago, the whole inyan is not the actual carrying. It's taken from one domain
To another domain.
You're basically taking, it's like building in a certain way, because you're taking something from the private domain, which is one domain, and then you're moving it to the public domain, which is different.
Right.
Different. So you're taking.
It's not just carrying. It has to be moving from one domain to another. 100%.
Wait a second. Question.
Yes.
If the cabinet has its own domain,
Yeah.
then you would say certainly a person or a baby.
No, a cabinet. It's not the domains. A cabinet has its own domain, and a person doesn't necessarily have those sizes unless he's got this pouch and his legs are thick and that. It's not going to work. A reshut hayachid is physical properties, not because of who owns it or who calls it. It works differently. Let's continue. Let's read the Rashi.
See that how from that logic
You could think that's why we had to make it asumi drabanan, Abi, because people are going to come to make a lot of different mistakes. You'll make mistakes. Your grandma will make mistakes. Your cousin will make mistakes. My cousin, everybody's going to make mistakes. So we made it asumi drabanan. It gets confusing. Now we're talking on the deoraita level. Kilomar, afilu gavoa asara, even if it's 10 tefachim tall. Im ena rehava shisha be'emtzaita. If it doesn't have a diameter, let's pay attention to the math. If it doesn't have a diameter of 6, chayav is chayav. The akati hefetz be'al mahu. It's still just an object. Ve'ena reshut le'atzma. It didn't become its own reshut. The lo have a reshut deoraita. In order to be a reshut from the Torah, it has to be gavoa asara, 10 tall, v'rehava dalet al dalet, and 4 by 4. Kedamrinan be'eruvin, like it says in Eruvin. Kol shi'urin de Shabbat tzarich hem v'alachsonan. They need to have a diameter, meaning it's not enough to have four tefachim round. You have to have 4 tefachim square. And if you have 4 tefachim square, it's going to have a diagonal of 5.6. V'davar agol ki marba'at le mitocho. When you make a square in the middle, umafka igul shesaviv haribua, and then you draw a square that's 4 by 4. Then circumscribe a circle around the square. Lo mashka habe dale meruba'im. You're not going to find 4 square. Ilo have igulo karov l'shisha. The diameter has to be approximately 6. Why? Keda'amrina gabe sukkah ha'osuya kekevshan. The al korchach tzarich shetimtza betocho alachson shel dalid al dalid. You have to have the diagonal of a 4 by 4 square. The kol tefach beribua tefach vetre humshe be'alachsono. So the Gemara works with a rough version of the Pythagorean theorem, and when you have a square that's 1 by 1, the diagonal will be an amma, will be a 1 and 2/5, right? 1 and 2/5. So now, if you have 4, that means you have 4 times 2/5, means you get 8, which is 1 and 3/5, right? So now I got 4 plus 1 and 3/5 is 5 and 3/5, right? Hare hey tefachim v'gimel humashim, 5 tefachs and 3/5. That's the diagonal that's going to give you a square of 4 by 4. If you take a square 4 by 4, the diagonal is a tefach and 3/5. Now that diagonal also happens to be the diameter of the circle that you draw around it. Because when you draw a circle around a square, the circle is touching the 4 corners, right? The circle is touching the 4 corners. So the diagonal of that square is the diameter of the circle. Now, if the diameter of the circle, right, it's 5.6. So why does the Gemara say 6? Now we have a problem. Why does the Gemara say if it's 5.6? So Rashi says the Abaye lodak. Abaye didn't give an exact measurement. He said 6. Ulechumrahu de lodak. He gave a little extra. Yani he's making it asur. He's making it hayav even a little bit extra. Aval gav diyesh kan alachson be'ena rehava shisha mehayev le midrabanan. He considers it like hayav midrabanan ad ika shisha. Aval vaday le'inyan korban lo mighty. Of course, if he came to ask, we wouldn't tell him to bring a korban. Ihave hey tefachim ve'gimel homashim dehave kezorek reshut. So Rashi learns that there's a separate exclusion for throwing a reshut, and if it's 5.6 or what Abaye calls 6, that makes the whole item a reshut yachid. You throw a reshut yachid, you patur. Tosafot says very similarly to this, but he words the sivara differently. According to Tosfot, if you're throwing, in order to be chayav for throwing, it has to either be from Reshut HaYachid to Reshut HaRabim to Reshut HaYachid, or 4 amot. Here's a picture. Very good.
Is that what it is?
Yes. I mean, you need a compass, but the first circle looks almost like a square, but it's not bad, right? No, it's an average person.
It's an average person?
Yeah.
So in other words, the guy's a huge guy.
1 second. Here we have a picture that's actually similar. Now we're going to pass it around so everybody can see. Tefach it's the average person. So if a guy's very tall, we're not going to say his tefach for him. There's a few places where we say the tefach is for the person. But most places we use the average tefach.
Yeah, just like curiosity, with all the brains and the knowledge that we have in the Gemara and the
Right.
come up with a system.
It's very difficult. In order to keep a system you need a central institute. Then they have a standard foot and a standard meter. You go to Paris. There's a controlled room where they have the standard meter. You need to have an infrastructure. You're going to put people. The Torah used tifahim, an average tifahim, because more or less the average size person stays the same. And in any generation, you can go get the average of people, and you'll come up with a halakha.
So every generation the tefach was different?
No, it's all the same because people are the same because people haven't changed too much. That the Geonim say the reason why the Torah gave shiurim in tefachim, in kizetim, in kibitzim, it's because more or less it stays the same. It's constant. Hashem made it. That's the way He's doing it. In order to do anything else, so if they would have said we have a tefach, we put it in a museum in Eretz Israel, right in the time of the Gemara, where would it be now? It'd be buried somewhere in Haifa. We'd have to go looking for it. Some archaeologist, I found the tefach. Who knows? Like this, it's a living. The Torah is living. It's not in a museum. Everybody could go figure it out. We could argue about it too. That's also part of the fun. Let's see. Tosafot says that the reason why you patur is because when you pick it up, it's in the Reshut Rabim. But this item itself makes its own Reshut Yachid. So you're never ever going from the Reshut Rabim to the Reshut Rabim, or from the Reshut Rabim to the Reshut Yachid, because the item itself creates itself for the Reshut Yachid.
But what you said before that there wasn't
Rashi says a different word. Rashi says the point is that there's no chiyuv for throwing reshuyot. Tosafot says, I never heard such a halacha. The problem is that you pick it up from in your house. When you're putting it down outside, before you put it down into the Reshut Rabim, once you put it down, at the same point, the place where you're putting it now becomes part of the Reshut Yachid. So I put it down, in effect, in the Reshut Yachid. So I never carry from the Reshut Yachid to the Reshut Rabim. That's the way Tosafot learns. We got a lot more to do, and it's very rough day today. No time for stuff here. Then the Gemara, Rava says no. Afilu in the havashisha. Rava says even if your basket is not 6 wide, it's still going to be patur. Why? Iev shar. This is like Iev shar lekurmiyot shel kaneh shelo yalu lemala me'asara. Rava says if the basket is 10 exactly, for sure you're going to have some pieces of basket that are sticking up above 10. So what? So now we said that Reshut Harabim only goes up to 10 tefachim, right? Now, you threw the basket, it lands in Reshut Harabim, but it's not all in Reshut Harabim. There's a little bit that's still in Mekom Petur. In order to be chayav, the whole item has to be in Reshut Harabim. And since the whole item is not in Reshut Harabim, some of it is sticking up above your patur. I think Tosafot says, Abaye lo hashiv kurumiyot lehashev agudo b'makom patur. Abaye says, listen, you can't make the guy patur because there's a mashu of something that nobody even cares about above 10. Okay. Now, this is not a rahmanu. The question is significant or not? I mean, that's what it is. Rava feels no, anything is significant. Abaye says it has to be a chashuv part of the keli. Kafa'al piyah. Now is when it gets even more complicated. Kafa'al piyah. If I turn the basket upside down, now the bottom of the basket is on the top, right? Shiva'u mashu chayav. Shiva'u mechza patur. If I turned it upside down and I throw it, if it's 7 and a drop, it's chayav. 7.5 is patur. Why? So now we have a whole new sibara going up. Rashi says kifal piyah v'zarkani through it, and now I'm talking it's not 6 wide. Zainu mashu hayav. Im givoha zainu mashu. If it's 7 and a drop, adayin chayav, he's still chayav. And certainly if it's less than that. Ela afilu givoha zainu mashu. Even if it's 7 and a drop, the ikal meimar, and we could say ho'ilu mechitzotea lemata. Because the walls are heading down, now we'll say lavud. We'll extend the walls down to the floor, and at the time when it gets under 10, I have a reshut yachid. Sorry, not I have a Reshut Yachid. No, he's not working with that. V'kaim alan halacha l'Moshe miSinai, we say lavud. Akati kula nicha b'reshut rabim. When you have 7 in a drop, right? Now the drop is really not so practical because every drop I could split into 2 drops, right? But in theory, a theoretical mashu, right? The smallest mashu possible, right? When it goes under 10, the whole thing is going to be under 10 or up to 10, right? Because I only say lavud less than 3. So I have my less than 3 and my 7 in a drop, it's exactly 10. So the whole thing is, Rashi's assuming that because we say lavud, because we say we have a rule that you could extend the wall up to 3 tefachim, so when the item is landing, as it gets, give me the bottom coffee cup there, the clean one. It's not clean. As it's coming down, right, when it comes to here, if this is exactly 3 tefachim, it's still not landed. Now it gets a drop under 3 tefachim. I'm going to automatically extend this down. I'm going to extend the... Here, you got it? Okay. When it comes down to within 3 tefachim, I'm going to extend the wall down. And that, even though it's still traveling, at that second I'm going to say, since the wall is extended down to the ground, it's like it's landed. That's a pause. But when that happened, this is already under 10. Masha'enken, if this is 7.5, when it comes down and this edge gets under 3, right? This is going to be, did you do it right away? Automatically, it extends down to the floor. And this edge, 0.4, is above the 10 tefachim mark. It's still in the other shoot. So I have a hanaha. What made the hanaha? The extension of the walls down to the ground made a hanaha, made it landed. And that landing, some of it is still above the boundary of Mikom Petur. It's Patur. Even though it continued down and it landed, you already had a stop of Patur. Right, that's enough to get me off the hook, Billy. That split second is enough to get me off the hook. That's a naich. I have this lamdish naich that because it's lavud, it's naich. Tosafot argues and says it is 6 wide. Rashi holds it's not 6, but that's more or less the sivara. Let's see. Again, let's read it inside. Amar Kafa'al Pia, he turned it upside down. Shiv'al Mashu, if it's 7 and a drop, Chayav is Chayav. Shiv'al Mechza, if it's 7.5, he's Patur. Why? Because if it's 7.5, by the time the leading edge gets under 3, the top edge is still above 10. I have a Hanaha, and it's a Hanaha where some of it is still a Mikom Patur. That poters you, and then when it continues, I stay Patur. No, because the mashu, I'm telling you, it's a theoretical mashu. At that mashu, the top edge is under 10. Because I don't say lavud, Eli, I don't say lavud at 3. I say lavud at 3 minus a mashu. That's the same mashu that I have that I have more than 7. What? It's not 7. It's because 3 is not. I don't say lavud at 3.
No, that's it was 10 before. I just flip it upside down, became 7.
If it's this way, why don't I say lavud at 7? Because the mechitzot are closed. It's closed on the bottom. I only say lavud when the mechitzot are continuing down. I can't continue mechitzot past the closed part. That's also an important point. It's good you asked the question. Here, it's in the middle of the Rashi. If you look in the middle of Rashi, b'shelo kafa'a, aval gavoa zaynu mechza, u'v'lekel me'em lavud. The lo amrin an lavud ela b'mechitzot. Okay. Rav Ashi Amar, Rav Ashi says, afilu shiva u'mechza, even 7.5, hayav. My ta'ama, what's the reason? Mechitzot letochan asiyot. The mechitzot of a keli are made to hold what's inside. They don't extend past the... We don't say lavud on the mechitzot of a keli. So therefore, even 7.5 yibis. So forget the kafa'ah part. He disagrees with Abaye and Rava. Amar Ula. Ula says, this is a very important and practical halacha, though it's slightly hard to understand. Amar Ula, Amud Tish'a B'Reshut Rabim. We said that Reshut Rabim is the floor, basically. Once you go above the floor of Reshut Rabim, you either Mekom Petur or Carmelit. If it's 4x4, it's a Carmelit. If it's less than 4x4, it's a Mekom Petur. Amud Tish'a. So if I have a pole that's 9 tefachim tall in Reshut Rabim, V'Rabim Mechatfim Alav, and the people use it to adjust their loads. Guy's carrying something, it's getting out of hand, he puts it down, he rearranges it, and then he continues. I don't think it has to be. Hayav, V'Zarak, V'Nachal Gabav. You threw 4 amot, and landed on top of this amud. That's considered landing in the Reshut Rabim proper, and Yechayav. My ta'ama, what's the reason? Pahot mishlosha, if it's less than 3, Midras Darsi la Rabim. Here you have a picture of the guy adjusting his load on the amud. Right? My ta'ama, this is great, Shai. My ta'ama, Pahot mishlosha, less than 3, Midras Darsi la Rabim. Everybody walk over it. Right? Because it's less than 6 inches. You just walk over it, no problem. That's Reshut Rabim. Right? Mishlosha Tish'a, from 3 to 9, Lo Midras Darsile, Velo Ketuf Mechatve. You don't walk over it because it's too tall. Velo Mechatve, you don't use it to adjust your load because it's the wrong height. I'm going to wind up bending over. It's impractical. Tish'a, but 9, Vadai Mechatfini Lave. For sure, we're going to use it to adjust your load. So that's a question. Is that exactly 9, or is it from 9 to 10? What did I just do? Okay, so we say Tisha Vadai Mechatfin Ale. Amar le Abai le Rav Yosef. And that's halacha, it's in Shulchan Aruch, it's everything. If you have an Amud Tisha B'Reshut Rabim, if the people use it, it's Hayav. Amar le Abai le Rav Yosef. Guma Mai. Let's say there's a ditch in the Reshut Rabim, 9 tefachim deep, or maybe some other number. Do we say also that because people use it, it's a Reshut Rabim also, or no? It's never Reshut Rabim. Amar lei v'chem beguma. So Rav Yosef told him, same thing. If you have a guma and it's 9 tefachim deep and the people use it for storing stuff, it's chayav. Rava Amar beguma lo. No, he says in a ditch, no matter what, it's never Reshut Rabim. It's always Carmelit. Assuming it's more than 3 deep. My ta'ama, quote, tashmish al yedei adhak lo shme tashmish. Says using the pole is very convenient. Your thing is on your back, it's too heavy. You put it down, you adjust it, b'janin. That's nice. To get to this pit, you got to bend over, get on your hands and knees. Al yedei adhak lo shme tashmish. That's not part of the Reshut Rabim. Reshut Rabim is nicha tashmishteh. Yesterday we wanted to let the guy between the poles out because it's not nicha tashmishteh. For sure the guy on his knees in the Reshut Rabim is not nicha tashmishteh. Eiti vei Ravada bar matna le Rava. Ravada bar matna es Rava. Haita kupato, we have I think it's a braita. Haita kupato munacha b'Reshut Rabim. If his basket is in Reshut Rabim. I think this is talking about the laws of Eruveh Tehumin. Let's see. Yeah. Haita kupato munacha b'Reshut Rabim. No, it's not. It says this is plain. Haita kupato munacha b'Reshut Rabim. If his basket was in Reshut Rabim, gavoa asara, it's 10 tall. Verehava arba'an, it's 4 wide. Those are the midot of what? Of Reshut Hayachid. En metaltelin lo mitocha l'Reshut Rabim v'lo b'Reshut Rabim l'tocha. You can't take things from Reshut Rabim, put it in here. From here, put it in Reshut Rabim. Why? Because even though it's a kupa, even though it's a basket, it's its own Reshut. And if you take something, put it in, you can from Reshut Hayachid to Reshut Rabim. Pachot mikan, if it's smaller than that, metaltelin, you can carry from the Reshut Rabim and put it in the basket. You can take from the basket, put it in the Reshut Rabim. Now, the question is why? Why isn't it a Carmelit? You have a basket that's 5 tefachim tall, right? And it's 4 by 4. The Braita is telling you, you can take something in the basket, put it down on the street. From the street, put it in the basket. Right, it's not a Reshut Yachid. Let it be a Carmelit. That's Rashi's question. Pahot mikan. You see the Rashi? O begova o berohav metaltelin. V'im tomar pahot me'asara v'rehavad dalid. If it's less than 10 but it's 4 wide, Carmeliti. It should be a Carmelit b'yasud Rabbanan. Lo gazur Rabbanan liftule mitorat kelim hu'il v'kelihu. The Chachamim didn't make the gezerah of Carmelit by a keli.
So over 10 it's not a keli?
No, over 10 it's not a Carmelit. It's a Reshut Yachid. That wasn't up to the Chachamim. That the Torah already said. I don't care what it is. Keli, not keli, it's Reshut Yachid. You want me? The Chachamim are making a gezerah of Carmelit. They left kelim out of it. Now, v'chem beguma, and the same measurements apply to a guma. If the guma is 10 deep and 4 by 4, you can't carry from the guma to the Reshut Rabim, from the Reshut Rabim to the guma, because the guma became a Reshut Yachid. My love, a seifa, isn't it going on the seifa also? That if it's less than that, you could carry. Now, 1 second. If it's less than that, you can carry. What about Carmelit? You can't tell me because it's a keli. It's not a keli. It's a guma. So it must be. It's going on the seifa. My love, hi v'chen. Welcome, Rashi. My love, hi v'chen seifa nami kai. It's going. The chen is going on the seifa. The pahol mikem etaltel lechatchila. Alma yisir reshut harabim hashiv le. At some point less than 10, it's still considered reshut harabim. The ukma, and assume that the sefer that says less than 10 you can still carry is not talking about all cases of less than 10. It's talking ba'amuk tisha, when it's 9 deep. The mishtamshim be'ktzah, they use it for keeping stuff there. Says Gemara lo areisha. It's only going, v'chem beguma is not going on the second part where less than that you could carry, because there's no such thing as a reshut rabim in a guma. It's talking about the reisha, which is that if it's 10 deep you can't carry, and the same thing applies by a guma. You can't carry. New case. ATV asked him another question. Nitkaven lishbot b'reshut rabim. If he wanted to keep, when you want to make iruveh techumin. So you're allowed to go 2,000 amot out of the city on Shabbat. Now let's say you want to go 4,000 amot. So we have a trick. It's called iruveh techumin. Take a jar of peanut butter b'jenin. You like peanut butter. You are, look how much the Chachamim know about. You are where your food is. If there's no food, I'm out of here. So take peanut butter, jar of peanut butter. It's enough for 2 meals of peanut butter. Put it at 2,000 amot. So now, normally when you're in the city, you have 2,000 amot here and 2,000 amot there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put your center at the boundary. So you'll have 2,000 amot back to the city and 2,000 amot further to get to the next city. That's called making eruveh techumin. I'm shifting my center from the city where I am to the boundary of my eruv, and then I can go an extra 2,000 more that way, and I have zero that way.
You have to eat the peanut butter?
No, you don't have to eat the peanut. You just have to put it there. I have food over there. That's enough. We're stretching it a little bit. No, you can only do it once. Right? You can only do it once. So now, there's a couple of ground rules for this.
So wait a second. Should when you live in a city, like, so shouldn't the rabbis put in place peanut butter all over the place?
No, they're hurting you. You might want to go that way. What are the rabbis going to do for you? Yeah, I'm going to tell you, hi, I'm the rabbi of the town. I put peanut butter that way. You want to go the other way. You want to make your own peanut butter? Deal with your own peanut butter. Now, I got nothing better to do than go around putting peanut butter for everybody. That's why Friday afternoons, could you help me with the kibbutz hamdan? No, I'm busy. I got to put peanut butter. Now, no, but really, every person has to know where he wants to go. I could be damaging you. I can't even be a shaliach. You're going to complain to me. I wanted to go the other way. You ruined it for me. So we can't do that. Now, going further, And the rule is you have to want. The reason why it works is not just because the peanut butter puts you. My heart is where my peanut butter is. I'm resting where my peanut butter is. So now I have to want to be there. So now there's a code nitkaven lishbot. Nitkaven lishbot. Nitkaven lishbot birshut harabim. So he had in mind, he went to put the peanut butter. He says, okay, my resting place, my starting place is right here on the street next to the next to this mailbox. And then he put the peanut butter, right? He put the peanut butter. There's a pit over there. There's a little pit. He put it in the pit. He put it. Yeah, but that needs refrigeration. Not so good. One guy told me, he says, in the summer, my brother told me, he says, in the summer he needed to make an eruv to get to Bangla Kalm to read the Torah. So he put the peanut butter there. The next year he was there again. He went back. He went to put the eruv. The last year's peanut butter was still there. Right? Yeah, but I wouldn't be there. Bebor, neither would Sambusak be there. So he has in mind to rest, to make his Shabbat right by the side of the bor. So he put his eruv, he put it on the board, he says someone's going to take it. He put it in a bor. Right? Lemala me'asarat tefachim. If he put it above 10 tefachim, eruvo eruv, the eruv is in eruv. Lemata me'asarat tefachim. If he put it below 10 tefachim, en uruvo eruv. The reason being is because if it's in a bor, the bor could be a reshut yachid. So then it comes out that the peanut butter is in a place that since my intention was to be shovet on the side of the road, which is still reshut harabim, and my peanut butter is in a place that's a reshut yachid, I can't get my peanut butter. Even though let me climb in the bor, but you had in mind that your shavita is on the side of the road. So you're not in the same place as your eruv. It's called hu ve'eruvo b'makom acher. He's not in the same area as his eruv. So now we're gonna. That's the ground rules. Now we have to analyze the lashon of the Braita. The Braita said if he put it in the bor, above 10 is good, below 10 is no good. What's the difference? If the bor is 10 deep, so the bor is a reshut yachid. Does it make a difference where in the bor I put the peanut butter? The whole bor is a reshut yachid. If you put something in your house on the top shelf, it's not reshut yachid. Didn't we say reshut yachid ole ad la rakia? So what is it saying above 10 and below 10? The Gemara says, hey chidami, ilayma bebor de'it be'asara. If you're telling me the bor has 10 deep, ulemala de dalai ve'otve, ulemata de tatai ve'otve, and above 10, below 10 means he put it above 10 or below 10 in the bor. Mali lemala, mali lemata. What's the difference if you put it high or low? Hu b'makom ehad ve'eruvo b'makom acher. He's in one place, his eruv is in another place. Elalav, when we say bebor, we're defining the bor. Bebor delit be'asara. The bor itself doesn't have 10. Ve'katani eruvo eruv. This what we say is eruv is in eruv. Right? So we're saying when we say lemala me'asarat tefachim means the bor itself is not 10 deep. When we say lemata me'asarat tefachim, it means the bor is 10 deep. So now lemala me'asarat tefachim, the bor is what? It's 9 deep. If you tell me that 9 deep is a reshut harabim also, so now it's good. I could get my eruv out of the bor. Right? Because the bor is 9. That's reshut harabim. I'm in reshut harabim. You're allowed to transfer from the reshut harabim to reshut harabim. But if you tell me like Rava that even a bor that's 9 deep is a karmelit, I'm still in trouble. I still can't get my eruv because the bor is a karmelit. I'm in reshut harabim. I'm not allowed to carry from karmelit to reshut harabim, and now I can't go to the Sabbath that I have in the next town. I'm going to be stuck. I can't even eat my peanut butter, right? I don't have to. I don't have to eat it. I can leave it there till next year. I have to be able to eat it in the place where I had in mind to be shovet. So since I had in mind to be shovet on the side of the road, I have to be able to get my peanut butter there. What? Possible. Forget it. Not for now. We don't have time for that. Oh, it still is. You'd be surprised how all the peanut butter you buy in the stores. Alma, we see tashmish al yedat chak shmei tashmish. So the Gemara says zimnin mishani le. Sometimes he answered it hu ve'eruvo bekarmelit. That when the guy had in mind to be shovet b'rshut harabim, it doesn't mean the reshut harabim. It means in the Carmelit. Ve'amai kari le reshut harabim. Why does he call it reshut harabim? Lefi she'ena reshut hayachid. Ve'zimnin, and sometimes nishani le'ye'en says hu b'rshut harabim, even though he's in a real reshut harabim. Ve'eruvo bekarmelit. The eruv is in the Carmelit, and there's an isud rabbanan to go from the Carmelit to the Reshut Harabim. Rabbihi, this Braita is like Rabbeinu HaKadosh. The Amar who says, Kol davar shu mishum shevut. Any shevut, any isud Rabbanan, lo gazru alav ben hashemashot. They didn't make a gezerah on the Rabbanan's ben hashemashot letzorech mitzvah. And eruv also has to be only letzorech mitzvah. If you want to go to the baseball game, let's assume that that's not a tzorech mitzvah on Shabbat. So therefore, you wouldn't be able to make an eruv to go to a baseball game. You have a brit milah, you have a sabbat, that's considered a tzorech mitzvah. You can go. For sure, it's tzorech mitzvah. Okay. Depends if you fight with them or not, right? Velo tema. It's good they can't see who said that, right? Velo Velo tema. Don't think I'm just pushing you off. I'm telling you an exact thing. The Tanan, we have a Mishnah later. It's a very interesting Mishnah. The Mishnah literally repeats itself one after another in the same Mishnah. The Tanan, if you had like a puddly, swampy area, and the Reshut Harabim goes through it. That's it. The street is going through. There's no way to go through. There's this swamp across the street. So you might say that area stops being a Reshut Harabim, because if it was up to you, you'll go back, you'll take another street. I don't want to walk through this swampy thing, right? V'Reshut Harabim malechet bo hazorek letocho dal ramot hayav. If you throw into it 4 amot, you chayav. V'kama hu rakak mayim. What's considered rakak mayim? That's still considered Reshut Harabim. Pachot me'asara tefachim. Less than 10 tefachim. V'rakak mayim she'Reshut Harabim ma'alechet bo. A rakak mayim that the Reshut Harabim goes through. Hazorek letocho al dal ramot chayav. What do I need that second line for? You just told me the same thing. You said, and then you say it again. Right? Bishlama rakak trezimne. What do you have to tell me that if there's like a swampy area there, a puddle there, trezimne, what do you write it twice for? To teach you that it's considered a Reshut Harabim in the summer and in the winter. What's the difference? Vitzricha, you have to tell me summer and winter. If you tell me it's a Reshut Harabim in the summer, because in the summertime, I'll walk through. It's hot, the heck. I'll get wet, but at least I'll be cool. They didn't have AC. The only way to cool down was to go in the water. Right? The Avid Inish, sometime a guy will walk through Likrure Navshe to cool himself down. But in the winter, the guy don't want to walk through. He's cold enough as is. If you tell me in the winter, anyway, he's been walking, everything is muddy, so a little more dirt, a little more mess, won't make a difference. Agav de mitnif, mikri v'nachi to walk through. Aval bimot hama, when my clothes are dry, I don't want to get wet. Tzricha, I need both. Ela, hiluch tere zimne lamali. What do you have to tell me? Walking twice. Lav shma mina. It's coming to teach me hiluch al yedat chak shme hiluch. The fact that I have this rakak, and the fact that I'm going to walk through, even though it's al yedat dahak, nobody wants to walk through this huge puddle, but the fact that some people walk through keeps it a Reshut Harabim. And the reason why it says hiluch again is to tell you only hiluch al yedat dahak makes something a Reshut Harabim. But tashmish al yedat dahak, if you have a pit, and the fact that I might use it to hold some stuff, since that tashmish is al yedat dahak, it's not considered a Reshut Rabim. Tashmish al yedei adahak lo shme tashmish shma mina. And that's the halacha, that tashmish al yedei adahak is not tashmish. An amud tish'ah is considered Reshut Rabim. A bor tish'ah is not considered Reshut Rabim. Another important halacha. Amar Rav Yehuda, hay zirza dekane. Let's say you went and you bought a pack of bamboo sticks, right? And you want to get it home. So you're not going to carry it. You're going to flip it. You flip it like this, then you stand it up, then you flip it down, then you stand it up, then you flip it down. So every time I flip it, it goes out of the 4 amot, and then I flip it and it goes further. Hay zirza dekane. Rama vezakve. Rama vezakve. He picked it up and he put it down and he stood it up. Rama, he threw it down. Vezakve, and he stood it up. He threw it down and he stood it up. Lo mehayev. He's not hayav. Ad akarle. Because every time it lies down, it's like a hanaha. So even though when you light it down, the top one out of 4, the back is still within the 4. It's not fully out of its 4 amot. And then when the back goes down, it's again not fully out of it. You never get out of 4 amot. I constantly have hanahot that make me patur. Tosafot says this only applies to this flipping type of thing where I constantly have hanahot. But if I have a barrel and I roll it, chayav. Or if I would have light it down and dragged it out, it's also hayav. Dragging is not considered starting and stopping. Dragging is moving, no problem. It's continuous. It's only here where I have a start, and every time it lies down, I have a stop that I'm patur.
So if you do cartwheels,
Amar Mor. I can't figure out because I can't do one. Amar Mor. We said before, Adam omed ala iskupa. A person could stand on the iskupa, right? Which is like a ledge, some sort of a little platform. No tell me ba'alabayit. He could take it from the guy in the Reshut Yachid, from the ba'alabayit. V'noten lo, give it back to him. No tell me ani. He takes it from the ani. V'noten lo, and he gives it back to him. Hi iskupa mai. What kind of platform is this? Ilema iskupat Reshut Rabim. If the platform is less than 3 and it's part of the Reshut Rabim, no tell me ba'alabayit. Can he take from the ba'alabayit? Ha mapik mi Reshut Yachid l'Reshut Rabim. He'd be carrying from the Reshut Yachid to the Reshut Rabim. So that's no good. Ve'ela iskupat Reshut Yachid. It must be it's a platform that's a Reshut Yachid. No tell me ani. He could take it from the poor guy. Ha me'ayel mi Reshut Rabim l'Reshut Yachid. How you take it from the poor guy? You're bringing it in from the Reshut Rabim to the Reshut Yachid. It'll be chayav again. Ela must be iskupat karmelit. It must be it's a karmelit. It's between 3 and 10, and it's 4 by 4. Also no good. No tel v'noten. It says you're allowed to take from the ani and give it back to him. Take from the ba'alabai, give it back to him. It should be asuri. You're not allowed to go lechatchila from a karmelit to the Reshut Yachid or Reshut Rabim. Sof isura mi'at yatz. At least asud rabanan. Ela, we have to say, iskupa mekom petur be'almahu. It's a mekom petur. How? Like we said, it's less than 4 and it's above 3. Kegon delet bedalet al dalet. It's not 4 by 4 tefachim. V'chi ha dechiata Rav Dimi. When Rav Dimi came, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, he said the name of Rabbi Yochanan, makom she'en bo dalet al dalet, a place that's not 4 by 4 dalet tefachim al dalet tefachim. That's not 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. Since it's such a small place, it's insignificant not to be a Reshut Yachid, not to be a Reshut Rabim. Mutar levnei Reshut Yachid v'levnei Reshut Rabim lechatef alav. The people from the Reshut Rabim, if they want to adjust their load, they could. The people from the Reshut Yachid, if they want to adjust their load, they could. Bulvad shelo yachlifu. But you can't switch. The Reshut Yachid guy can't put it down, and the Reshut Rabim guy pick it up. Like we said in the Mishnah.
or he go around and get it.
What?
Could he go around and get it himself?
No, same thing.
So they both could use the same spot.
They both could use the same spot.
Can't use it as a transfer point.
Can't use it as a transfer point. Amar mor, Bulvad shelo he told me balabai v'noten la'ani. You can't switch. You can't take it from the balabai, give it to the ani. From the ani, give it to the balabai. Ve'im natal v'natan, if he did the transfer, sheloshtam peturim. Leima te'evet tiyuvta de Rava. Let's say this is a disproof of Rava. The Amar Rava says, Hama'avir hefetz mitchilat dal lesof dal b'reshut rabim. If you carry something from the beginning of 4 amot to the end of 4 amot in Reshut Rabim, afal pi shehe'aviro derech alav, even though he went above the Reshut Rabim in the middle, right? When I carry, I don't always carry under 10. Sometimes I'm going to carry up here. and it's above 10 tefachim. So in the middle it went through Mekom Petur. Chayav is chayav. And over here we said if you put it down in the Mekom Petur, and then the other guy took it, it's patur. So you see, going through Mekom Petur makes you patur. So the Gemara, no. Hatam lonah. When he picked it up and he's walking, and never stopped. So you had no hanacha b'Mekom Petur. That's why it's chayav. Ha-chanach. Over here, I put it down on the Mekom Petur. That's patur. End of story. You picked it up. It's a numa aseh. You have neither one enough to make it chayav. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen. Wow, that was siyata dishma.